everybody, it's Bubs. So today I will be filming my postpartum update. I'm officially 1 month postpartum, and speaking of 1 month postpartum, it means that Isaac, my son, is officially 1 month old. Now let's talk about how I feel now versus how I felt, the first few days after giving birth. In the first few days giving birth, I did not look well at all, obviously, because as you guys know, I had to get an emergency C-section in the end. And when it comes to C-sections, it takes longer to recover. Even though I did end up getting discharged from the hospital earlier because the doctor said I was recovering really fast, the first few days giving birth was not great at all. The cesarean itself wasn't bad. It just feels like a lot of tugging, a lot of pressure. I remember just feeling very nauseous, very groggy during the operation, but the worst part is the day after because the incision can hurt, and especially because I was so groggy and I was constantly throwing up. You know when you throw up, your stomach kind of goes, and because you go, it tugs onto your incision. So yeah, that wasn't very great. Whatever I was eating, I would throw it back up, and even when there was nothing in my body would throw up bile. And I was really supposed to just rest in bed like the day after the operation, but because I really wanted to go see my baby, I kind of like forced myself to get up from bed, and that kept making me throw up. The day after I felt better, and then the day after I felt better, and now like 4 weeks after the C-section, I think I feel pretty great. My incision, at least the outside part, feels like it's pretty much healed. Obviously, the inside will take, months and months to recover, but I think I feel pretty good. So now moving on to the first few days as parents. It was definitely very challenging for Tim and I. We haven't really had much experience with babies, honestly, apart from like our own, so we were like totally noobs at it. I think what I had was just a little case of baby blues, but I was just emotional. I was recovering from a C-section. I was sleep deprived, and just a lot of things meshed together. Sometimes like a lot of people just don't put it out there about the truth of being brand new parents. They only show the cute pictures of how cute their babies are. But the reality was, I had a lot of like mommies like email me and just asking if I was okay, even though like I never put out there that I was, struggling, and they just suddenly opened up to me and told me that, they cried for weeks, some cried for months. I pretty much cried for the first 3 days, so I guess, hearing about, these people crying for weeks made me feel a little better. So one thing that all these mommies have told me was it gets easier. And 1 month on, I can definitely say yes, it does get easier when you get into a routine. And now sleep-wise, back then I used to need like at least 8 hours for me to function properly. But now I'm lucky if I could even get 3 hours, 4 if I'm really lucky. And this is broken up sleep throughout the day, by the way, so it's like 1 hour here and then 1 hour there. And to be honest, I'm a little surprised that like I'm dealing with this okay. I am breastfeeding Isaac, and he's a very, very hungry baby. Even my doula is like, whoa, he has a huge appetite, and I'd rather him feed well than not feed well, and he pretty much needs to be breastfed on average, say every 2 hours, and on average I feed him about 10 times a day. It takes me 45 minutes to 1 hour each time, so you can imagine the amount of hours I spend boobing him. Apart from feeding him, I find that it's difficult for me to get other things done. It's very tiring, it uses up a lot of your energy and makes you sleepy, it takes up a lot of the day. But when I see just how chubby he's gotten and just how healthy it is, then I know it is so worth it. Luckily for us, breastfeeding kind of comes natural for us because if there's one thing my doula told me was breastfeeding shouldn't hurt. I never ever needed to use nipple balms. So now the one everybody wants to know, weight loss. A lot of you guys are intrigued with just how quickly I seem to be losing the weight. Honestly, like 5 days after giving birth, I weighed myself and I was already 11 kilograms lighter, and it was crazy because like my weight just suddenly dropped off just like that. I was 62 kilograms near the end of my pregnancy, and I am now currently 49 kilograms. Even though my weight loss was really quick at the beginning, it's definitely slowed down now. And even though I would love to exercise, because I just love exercising because it centers me, because of my cesarean, I can't do any exercise until 6 weeks afterwards. Alright, so this is my body 1 month postpartum. So I'm wearing black, so you probably can't tell as much, but I still do have a little pooch. And from the side, you can see more clearly that it's got that little pooch here. See, I still have like the linea nigra. So yeah. So I'm about 4 to 5 kilograms from my pre-pregnancy weight, and you know, that will go off in its own time. You know, it takes 9 months for you to put that weight on, so don't expect it to just suddenly go away overnight. So be patient, guys. Try to not get so bummed out about how you look after pregnancy. I remember the day after giving birth and I looked at the mirror, and I have to admit I did feel like a little horrified. My belly looked so saggy, and you know, my linea nigra was still so dark. And especially with C-sections, it takes a lot longer for your body to go back because they cut through the muscle and all the layers. So what you'll find is your pooch kind of hangs over your scar a little bit, and it doesn't go back the same way as you do when you have a natural delivery. Of course, it's definitely worth it because now we have Isaac, and when he smiles, it just melts my heart. During pregnancy, my rings still fit me, but right after giving birth, my rings couldn't fit me, and I was like, what's happening? So it turns out I just ended up swelling up after pregnancy, and my face just got like kind of round, my fingers got really puffy, and that's the thing about IV drip, and you know, your body fluids and the water retention. So thankfully my fingers, my body, and my face went back to its normal size, so it's no longer swollen up. The weird thing was, towards the end of my pregnancy, I was like, I can't wait to not be pregnant. But now that I've had the baby, I kind of miss being pregnant. But I gotta say, I love being able to lie on my belly now. You know, before I was pregnant, I never slept on my belly, but these days I find myself lying on my belly a lot more, maybe because I can. Supposedly after giving birth, your hair is supposed to shed and just fall out more. Not the case with me yet. I still have a lot of hair, and I think my nails are still very strong. Again, it could be due to the fact that my doula cooks me very healthy food. So now I'm moving on to Isaac and a little bit about him. So Isaac, when he was born, he was 6.6. So he ended up not even being that big in the end. Here is my little potato. He's getting so big. Look at the buns on him. It turns out I just had a lot of fluid. I don't know if my doula is just saying this to make me feel happy, but she says that Isaac is one of the best babies she's ever looked after. So Isaac is definitely a very alert baby, and you know, we think that he's gonna be a very clever child for a newborn. It's crazy how much neck strength he has because he's always like lifting it up, and he has a big head. He also smiles a lot, and he smiles a lot in his sleep, and he smiles when I sing to him, and he's just a really good baby. He pretty much came out exactly like how I predicted. I predicted him to have my eyes and Tim's nose. He totally has a double chin going on, and he's got these 2 buns here. His head looks square because his cheeks are so big. Sometimes when he's sleeping, he would suddenly go, eh, and we have to say, we're here, and then he'd go back to bed. It's almost as if he's going, is anybody there? Another thing is he knows how to burp himself, so after feeding and he's got a lot of trapped air, he would like just sit up straight himself to get the air out. Every day looking at him, it just feels like he looks different because he's just growing so fast. So that was my postpartum update, guys. Again, thank you so much for just being there at the beginning of the journey, during the journey, and you know, moving on to the next chapter with me. I love you guys. Mwah! Take care.